Dana asks, any suggestions for using witness cones when your kiln has a kiln sitter rather than a controller? I have a small old school doll kiln, can't create a schedule. All I can control is on off length of time. Yeah, so in that scenario, I recommend putting witness cones on every shelf where you can see them through the peepholes. And so hopefully your kiln has a peephole, and you have to load your kiln strategically so that you can see the witness cones during the firing and be present at the end when the kiln sitter goes. I was always, because my glazes were so, if I didn't get the perfect hot cone 6, if it was overfired, my glazes would run. If it was underfired, my glazes were matte, and I did not like how they looked. They were underfired. I was using these really finicky glazes, so I was always present at the end. For one thing, you should never rely on your kiln sitter to shut your kiln off. There's been times where my kiln wouldn't have shut off if I hadn't been there to turn it off, because the sitter cone like melted to the cone supports, and it just, I don't know why this happened, but it did happen, and the sitter was stuck and it wouldn't have fallen. So luckily I was there, and I'm always there, and I'm watching my cones fall, and I'm shutting the kiln off when my cones look perfect. And so if you have a kiln sitter kiln, that's what I recommend, is to be there, be present, and have visible witness cones where you can see them. So you're watching them, you're wearing your kiln goggles and to protect your eyeballs, and you're watching your cones fall so that your kiln shuts off at the right time. If it shuts off early, you're there and you can turn it back on and watch your cones fall and then manually shut it off. If you have never done this before, if your sitter goes and your cones aren't melted yet properly, you just lift up the little mechanism that falls down. You lift that up, push the button back in, and then gently lower it down, and then that'll allow you to turn your elements back on, and you're watching your cones, and as soon as your witness cones that you can look the way you want them to, then you hit that mechanism to manually shut the kiln off, and you push it in and the button pops out, and then your kiln is off. So that's my recommendation, is if you have a manual kiln, you're always using witness cones that you can look at during the firing, and you're using those to determine when your kiln shuts off, not relying on the kiln sitter itself.